welcome to our very first review of anything.
Ever.
And this time, it's going to be a bad one.
If you only knew. We're doing Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
I did not expect this movie to be good. Let's start out there.
Yeah, me either.
And it did not disappoint. I mean, the first half of the movie, it has a good build and it's interesting enough despite the glaring flaws with it.
Yeah.
But then it falls apart. I mean, it just falls apart.
Brutally.
Oh my goodness. It did one good thing about it, it does not feel long. It does not feel like a 2-hour movie because it just ends.
Yeah, it's
like
abruptly too.
Yeah, But anyway, let's get into the details.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the overall story?
For me, I like the overall story, the concept of what they were going for, but the execution, like we were kind of just mentioning, didn't work out. It just didn't work. The actors, the 4 main actors, they're amazing.
Well, actually, the 5, Dr. Doom is good too.
This is Toby Kebbell.
Yeah.
And they just nail their roles.
Yes, they are very good in this movie.
Even with terrible dialogue and somewhat bad writing in moments and terrible editing, they still shine through.
Yeah, I mean, they were the saving grace of this movie.
Yeah, because they're believable and they keep you interested and invested in what's going on with the characters. And that's all the movie needs to do to some extent to keep you there. But it's not enough to save the overall. Because essentially what you have with the movie is one really long first act. A second act where they jump right into the pinch, straight into the crisis. And then out of nowhere, the third act comes up on you really quickly and then just ends.
Yep. But let's start at the beginning.
Yep.
They changed a lot from the comics.
Yep.
But after a while, I didn't really care because the actors were so good.
Yep.
And the storytelling at first was pretty good. I mean, it's a little far-fetched that this little kid is teleporting matter to another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. It's a comic book movie. Whatever.
And it is Reed Richards, and he's supposed to be really, really smart to begin with. So it's kind of like, okay, I buy it.
And there were things that bothered the crap out of me. And they weren't big story elements, but there's a scene where they're building the first quantum gate thing, in which there's this guy welding a piece right next to Mr. Richards on his laptop. And yet Mr. Richards is not blinded by the arc that is produced by this welder. And they're just welders everywhere, just welding away without any screens or anything. It doesn't work. I mean, it's little shit like that throws you out of a movie.
Yeah.
And most of the CG in this movie is terrible.
Yeah, it is. For the most part. They kind of make up for it a little bit with the character effects themselves.
Yes.
But at the same time, but then they take you out of it again with the character effects. So there is a scene that if you've watched Jerby John's review, which I'm going to reference here, that it takes you out the very second it happens.
Yes.
And it's a very short scene that you wouldn't think to have you get taken out, but it's like 5 seconds.
It's weird. This movie's got a dichotomy. Mm-hmm. One character, the CGI, is amazing and it's really good and everything's perfect. And on the other character, everything is terrible.
Yep.
They do not do a single thing well with this character.
Yep.
CG wise, I'm talking.
Yeah. And that's Reed Richards.
I wasn't going to tell him.
Oh, it's not really a spoiler.
No, it's not.
And
the good character is the Thing.
Yeah.
Ben Grimm looks amazing in this movie. Mm-hmm. And his eyes just come out and they're alive and they're the best CG in the movie. Yeah. Assuming they're CG. I don't know. Maybe they captured his eyes.
Yeah.
And
then, like, on the other spectrum, you also have the Human Torch, which I was totally fine with his CG for the most part.
It was all right.
It was passable and it worked.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot better than the prior film.
Well, it was 10 years ago.
And then also Sue Storm, like the few times she uses her ability, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it works fine.
Yeah.
It looks okay. It looks fine. It looks passable. Although her, like, force fields look exactly the same as, like, them teleporting. Almost.
Yeah, it does. It's like a weird...
I think they just copied paste.
Which, actually, in a way, kind of makes a little sense.
Yeah.
As to how she gets her power.
Yeah, I suppose.
So didn't have a problem with it because like
No,
she got her power
I didn't
through
actually
something.
notice until just now.
Yeah, and like you see them like getting their powers based off things that happened to them during the accident.
Except for what's his nuts, Reed Richards. He doesn't get
Yeah,
bombarded by rubber bands.
he doesn't get his power until after they come through the gate.
No, he doesn't use his power until after they come through the gate. They don't expressly say when he gets his power.
They show him getting it. They show it happening to him as he's reaching for Ben.
That's the first time he uses it. That's not necessarily when he gets it.
It's part of the reveal, though, of the horror, because they have kind of a sci-fi horror element where this thing goes wrong and then they have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But they don't spend enough time on them dealing with it.
No, they totally skip over that.
But like it is very like soul crushing when you like the characters and then it happens.
I hope I didn't just screw everything up.
I don't know. But yeah, it's very. When it happens, it's very soul crushing for the characters because you actually kind of care about these characters for how good the acting is.
Yeah, and the build up to this point.
And then really when it happens, because of the horror element they give it, you're like totally like into it at the moment. But then it just kind of happens, and they move on.
Yeah. This is how it goes. They find them, or the shit goes down, and then they get like captured.
Yep.
And they're in the lab. And that's fine, whatever. And then a year passes.
Yeah.
Because 1 year later,
they don't like give you any development or anything like that of what's going on.
There's like a 5-minute scene.
And basically, a thing happens with Reed, and when they do this whole year passes things, it would have been nice to have seen like a montage at least of Reed and what he was doing in between all this time. But you don't even get that. You just kind of pick up where everything moves off. Afterward, after a year worth of it doing it, where everybody else is like controlled by the military essentially.
Yeah, and there's no character building on how they come to grips with their powers or anything. It's just you have powers. You're so freaked out. Half of them are unconscious.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, they've mastered them.
Yeah, and like that's the thing to get into is when they get back with the powers and they're in the lab at first, they're all unconscious. The only one who's shown any like major signs of being awake is Ben Grimm.
Yep.
But we don't know anything like what's going on with them yet. And Reed was awake for a little bit and then fell back asleep and then was dosed. And went back to bed. And they're like Dr. Storm, father of Johnny Storm and Sue Storm. He wants to see his kids to make sure they're okay. And the government is like, no, we can't. They're too powerful. How do you know they're powerful?
Yeah,
they've been asleep.
Yeah, they've been unconscious this whole time.
They haven't shown any power yet.
Like you can see that one's made of rock now, and one's all stretchy.
You see another one is like phasing in and out of what's almost like in existence to them.
And then the other one's on fire.
Yeah, but they haven't done anything.
That's not power. That's just they're freaks now.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, but they're super powerful somehow.
Yeah, like oh, they're really powerful, and the military wants to use them for weapons.
And then they finally give in and let Mr. Storm see his kids, and that's when you see the first example of one of them possibly being powerful, because Johnny Storm wakes up
for a little bit and explodes.
Yeah.
We should probably put spoilers because we're just kind of telling them what the movie is.
For the most part, but we'll figure it out. But so basically, they never actually they give you the concept of what's going on, which is fine and good. You like the characters. But you never get any payoff with anything.
No, they really dropped the ball on fulfilling the promise to the audience.
Yeah. And like when you see all this, then they even dropped the ball even harder with Doctor Doom.
Yes. So I have a weird relationship with this Doctor Doom. I thought he was a cool villain.
Yep.
I thought he would have worked really well as a different villain.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, Professor Bad, Professor Apocalypse, like something that's not Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Because he has the same-ish powers as Doctor Doom, and he looks vaguely similar, but not really.
Yeah.
Although I do like what they did with him
for
someone other than Doctor Doom. But as Doctor Doom, he fails utterly.
Except for before he becomes Doctor Doom, they have Toby Kebbell, for the most part, play exactly how you would expect Doctor Doom before he becomes Mr. Villain.
For the most part.
Dr. Doom, because Dr. Doom's supposed to be this arrogant dude who thinks he knows better than most people.
Yeah.
He is supposed to be super intelligent, and he is super intelligent. So they have all that there for you. And so they set you up with a great starting point for a Dr. Doom. they even, in a way, what happens to him kind of reflects the comics and the fact that at some point in the comics, Doctor Doom, because basically Doctor Doom in the comics, his mom gets abducted and brought to hell. And so the whole point of all of his like research for like
Dimensional.
interdimensional travel is to try and find a way to open a portal to hell so that he can go to hell and save his mom.
Just watch this movie.
And yeah, if you watch the movie, it's got an element.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Just watch this movie and you'll open a gateway to hell.
There we go. But so yeah, because like the movie is all about interdimensional travel, so they could have put that in there, or like fed something like that in there. They didn't.
I think the reason they didn't is because they didn't want this movie to be too out there. They wanted to keep it in the realms of science fiction.
Yeah.
And if you add hell, it's either Doom, which is awful, the movie and video games Doom, not Doctor Doom, or it's just fantasy fairy tale time.
Yeah.
That's how movies
I know,
are
but I mean,
done. But
they have the elements there to make it
something
work.
to make you not just disregard Doctor Doom completely.
Yeah.
Because that's what you end up doing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what the movie ends up doing.
Yeah, because then they get to a point where they finally find Doom, and it's such a short-lived thing. They don't build up any character for him.
It's just suddenly, bam, Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And then bam, no more Doctor Doom.
And he has about the same amount of character development and as little and less time as Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Way less time.
Way less time. But he's got basically the exact same like ideas of what he's doing.
Fuck this world.
I'm gonna destroy it.
I'm a bad guy,
And
so I have to do bad things.
And because I lived in this random other world for a year, it's now my new home.
Yeah.
That's basically Doctor Doom in this movie.
One other nitpicky thing that threw me out of the movie head first was there's this character, and he's kind of a supporting character, of which none of them act well. None of them are compelling characters.
And like even like Dr. Storm, he's just given dialogue to say that's to keep everybody
he is
up
not,
on the up and up.
Yeah, he's
Mr. Happy Man.
But anyway, this guy, he's throughout the whole movie, he's kind of the baddish guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dick. And I don't know when it started, but in every single scene, he's chewing gum. And there's this scene where he's talking to, it looks like the Joint Chiefs of Staff, or it's some really important military people.
Yeah.
And he's chewing gum in a conference with generals. You're chewing gum? And then that's when I first noticed it. And then I paid attention in every single scene. Was this guy trying to quit smoking or something, that he had to have a piece of gum in his mouth the whole fucking time?
I have no clue.
Because it annoyed the piss out of me.
But like it did add kind of a character element to him, because he was a very annoying character to begin with.
But every single scene, even if it's just a reaction shot. Like, really?
So he's the one character that as soon as Dr. Doom...
Yeah, I was like, finally! Thank you!
Yeah.
You're now my favorite character in this movie, Dr. Doom.
Even though you're been mistreated and
Yes.
you're the cause of an ending that just goes...
Yes. And like, when it ended, my first reaction was,
Yep, that was...
what?
He said that very out loud in the
What
theater.
the fuck is this?
And because I had already read some reviews, I knew that it has a very abrupt ending. Because I've heard that people said it's basically there's just a first act and then a very short third act. But we kind of figured out what the second act kind of was, but it was also short.
Yeah.
And so when it ended like that, I kind of expected that. It made sense to me because I saw the reviews, but like the way they set it up, it seems like it's going to keep going for another couple minutes.
Yeah.
At least 20 to 30 more minutes.
Yeah, they set it up for like one of those little dips and then the real climax.
Yeah.
But you just don't get that real climax. It promises something it doesn't deliver. And even without knowing that there were major problems in the production of this movie,
you can tell.
You can tell. It falls apart so quickly.
Especially in the editing.
Oh my goodness.
Because like we were saying, it just kind of jumps. Like it builds something up and then it just jumps to a new scene and moves on. And
it does it twice. Like, well, there are two so many years later. The first one, I'm
Yep.
totally fine with. It
'Cause
makes sense.
It's supposed to be there.
Because it's 7 years later from when they're kids to when
Mhm.
they're
Teenagers.
teenagers. And then, but the second one doesn't make any fucking sense.
Mhm.
Like, even if you have a 5-minute montage,
Yeah.
that's fine. But just to skip a whole year of crucial character development
Yep.
and then expect us to give a fuck what these characters are doing now? And then you have Ben Grimm, who's just killing people for the government.
Yeah.
And he
It was
doesn't
so
give a
unexpected.
fuck.
Well, they show him kind of caring that he's doing it.
They try, but it does
But
not
it's-
succeed
but it-
because it's 3 seconds long.
Yeah, it's such a short moment, and then they immediately send him after Reed.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, this is what I do now. Brr.
Yeah, he's like so disenfranchised with everything. And it's just like, okay, I get that, but they don't actually do anything to that character
No.
arc to make it matter.
No. And it's never mentioned again that he killed so many people.
Yeah.
Because
And they're
on the
getting
bottom
ready-
of the screen, he's watching himself kill all these people. It's like
Yeah.
43 confirmed
And
kills.
it's showing him kind of like upset with it himself. Like
Either
he's
that
kind
or
of,
he was constipated or
yeah,
something.
because it
I
looked like
mean,
he was like sickened by himself
yeah,
by
it-
that. And then he gets
but it's-
praise from a random dude in the government, and then they
I think
move
that
on.
was Gumshoe guy, wasn't it?
It was a dude that Gumshoe guy was bringing around.
Oh, okay.
Because he
Yeah,
was
that's
the
right.
generals or
Yeah.
whatever checking the progress of everything.
Fuck Gumshoe guy.
And then they go to this moment where they're going to put Johnny Storm on a mission. And they never actually put him on a mission.
No.
It just kind of fizzles out.
Yeah, it's like Subject 2 is ready for action. Okay.
Don't do it
Moving
yet
on.
because we got to do this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then they do this other stuff, and that's what happens.
Yeah. And the trailers are so disingenuous.
They're very disingenuous.
They are cut like a lot of the scenes are in there, but not all. First of all,
Yeah.
not all the scenes that are in the trailers are in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That in and of itself,
Screams.
yeah,
Something went
it's-
wrong.
Oh. But then the ones that are in there are taken totally out of context.
Yep, in the trailers. Because
It's
they
a
cut together
completely
words.
different movie.
Yeah.
They cut scenes together that don't go together, and not just like kind of like this chunk, this chunk, this chunk,
Mhm.
but like when Ben Grimm drops out of the whatever he's dropping out of.
Helicopter.
First of all, that's not in the movie.
Nope.
And then immediately after, where Reed Richards is like, "Oh, it'll take 10 minutes, maybe less."
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with
that
Ben
part.
Grimm.
Yeah.
That is completely later. It's offhand. It's just a joke in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and all of it is like that.
Yep.
They make it seem like there's going to be this awesome fight in the city. Nope.
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 It's
That
just a
is-
random scene.
That's an offhanded scene again.
It's a pan out scene, and all it is a pan out scene to show like an EMP or something goes off.
Yeah, and they didn't even do that right.
No. And so, like, in the trailer, it shows there's this big fight in the city with Ben Grimm jumping out of a helicopter. And really, if I think about it, the only thing that's kind of similar to that is when Ben Grimm jumps out of the helicopter to go get Reed. But in the trailer, that's nighttime.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's daytime.
Yeah.
So it's like they just took that, gave it a filter to make it look like nighttime, so it kind of matches the night city,
Yeah.
and just
it's
threw it out in the trailer.
awful. Awful. It's so disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. Like, other than that, like, the movie itself, I found lots of things in it that I was enjoying. And it wasn't a painful thing to watch.
No, it was not a painful. There were actually a couple moments
Yeah.
in the movie that was just bad writing.
Yeah.
But I can see where the director wanted to take the movie, and
Mhm.
I think Fox needs to get the fuck out of his way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he just missed some things
Mm-hmm.
that bothered the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, like, it would have been much better.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll never know now.
Yeah.
There's just so much that they cut from this movie and reshoots and re-edits and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's
I mean, I had fun watching it. And
had
I was
fun
into it.
Yeah, up
And
until
then,
the end.
yeah, then the ending happens. It just dive bombs. Because the ending really is just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's like this big, grand, epic, like, oh, we have to fight Doctor Doom now. And it doesn't make any sense how they get there or what's going on
No.
with it.
No. Oh. they set up one thing and then divert to a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then their powers aren't even consistent throughout the fight. Cuz somebody can do one thing for only this way and then all of a sudden they can do it a different way without any explanation as to why.
Yep.
It doesn't.
They set a limitation when it shows the little bit of training they actually show them doing.
Yeah, and then during the actual fight that limitation is nowhere to be seen.
Doesn't even matter. And then they made Doctor Doom so ridiculously powerful in this that even them beating him with teamwork, obviously, still does not make sense, because it's like when he finally you think, oh, he's gonna come back.
Yeah, you think like that's the only thing you're thinking, because that's what it kind of leads to that, because it seems so
easy.
Yeah, it seems like a cop out. Yeah. Like there's 15-20 minutes where he is just killing everyone.
Yep.
And then he goes out like a bitch.
And what's even worse is the way that he goes out. It's in something that is supposed to send him someplace else.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense.
They don't really explain. Well,
in a way, he's using the gate of the thing.
Okay, we're gonna have to put spoilers on this because fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he shoots off a beam that is teleporting everything into this next dimension, and then there's this little ring of rocks that's like disintegrating everything.
Yeah.
And he gets launched up into that ring
as it's being exploded already.
Yes, as it's being exploded, but it's still there because it needs to be.
Yeah.
So he gets disintegrated. But the way they make it seem like he's just kind of being transferred into energy, kind of like a cool, now I'm even more powerful thing. Yeah. But then no, they end the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so stupid because they could have cut some of the crap that they didn't need, like Gumshoe Guy, to actually build a second climax that would have been better and cooler.
Yeah.
Maybe setting up for another movie.
Yep.
And it would have been cool because maybe Doctor Doom returns and he's more powerful, and maybe he destroys a city, and that's where the movie ends.
Yeah,
they fail at the end. That would be really cool.
Yeah, because you feel disenfranchised because they're teleporting you to a different dimension for the final fight, and he's like destroying an area. Yeah, with the big beam, and it is kind of like there is some gravity to it. They show it just enough to show you that that's what's happening on our planet.
Yeah.
And then you never see what's actually happening until the fight's over.
And it's a total cop-out because it's a remote area.
Yeah.
And nobody gets harmed because they show the people running away as the cars get sucked up.
Yep.
Showing that nobody gets harmed in this. Mm-hmm. So who cares?
Yeah. And then
it's a meaningless conflict.
Yeah, and then the movie just kind of ends with, like we said, a lone point. Because they go back to the government, they're like, oh no, we want our own shit. And then they get their own shit. And then they're have this really, really cheesy dialogue.
Yeah.
Where they come up with the name Fantastic Four.
But they don't say it. Nope. They say, I got it. And then it appears on the screen.
Yeah. Just a sudden ending out of nowhere. And it's like, really, that's it?
Yeah.
You could have gone for another 20 minutes here.
And I wouldn't have minded at all, even if the movie was a bit longer, because the first half was so good.
Yeah, and the pacing was really well done. That, like we said, it feels like you're sitting there for an hour. It does not feel long, yeah. It was close to 2 hours?
Yeah, it was about that.
And it felt like we were in there for an hour. That's how invested that movie got you.
Because the ending creeps up on you. I thought we were halfway through the movie, to be honest with you. Because I wouldn't have minded if we were halfway through the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a reverse Transformers Age of Extinction.
Yeah, exactly.
Where Transformers Age of Extinction is really long and it feels like it's 3 times the length it is.
Yeah.
You feel like you're sitting there for 6 hours.
Is it actually that long?
It's like 3-some hours long.
Is it really?
And
I remember it being super long.
And it feels like you're there even longer than that.
Yeah.
But yet, Fantastic Four is 2-some hours long, and it feels like you've only been there for an hour. Because it's actually pretty good for the most part at keeping your interest.
Yeah, there's wonky bits, there's imperfect bits, but every movie has those.
Yeah.
The only problem is they don't redeem themselves after them.
They don't. They just kind of taper everything off until the movie ends.
It's like they were like, oh, we've already spent enough on this fucking movie. Fuck it, we're done.
Yeah.
But
And even the graphics show that too.
yeah,
The graphics
'cause
look like stuff
most
that
of the
could have
CG's
been.
terrible.
Yeah.
Even the other dimension was not very good.
Well, the actual dimensions, like when they first get there, I really dug like the landscape and how that looked and how the graphics looked. For
Yeah,
that.
but when they start fighting there, it falls
Or even
apart.
like when the dimension itself starts having issues happening, like the graphics of shit exploding and stuff.
Yeah,
It just was just so pure cheesy.
yeah, it's just not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big budget. It's supposed to be a summer blockbuster, albeit a late summer blockbuster, but still, it needs to be top, especially for a comic book movie. When you're competing with Ant-Man, because Ant-Man's still out, you have to compete, and this movie did not do it.
No. It was one of those movies that I'd expect to have seen in like February.
Yeah.
It was a total February like version of like a superhero movie. Something like where February is the month where movies normally go to die. And like for that to have come out in February when you're up against a bunch of crap, that would have been a good movie.
Yeah, it would have seemed like a good movie.
A much better movie.
Maybe.
But especially when it's saying Ant-Man's still out, and last weekend, apparently Mission Impossible just crushed it.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
I hear that movie's really good, though I haven't seen it yet.
So like when you're up against that type of caliber of action movies, being given that is kind of like which is why I'm excited for the Deadpool movie because that's coming out in February.
Yeah, even if it sucks, it's gonna be on. Yeah, it looks so much better than this one even did in the previews.
And the other thing that's a big noticeability of difference between this and Deadpool is that Deadpool was given an incredibly low budget.
Yeah.
And Fox basically said, do what you want. So I think the only reason Fox had their hands in the cookie jar too much with Fantastic Four is because Josh Trank was doing it for a higher budget, and he's not exactly the kind of director that a lot of people hedge their bets on yet.
Yeah.
Even though his major movie that I'm aware of is Chronicle, and I absolutely love Chronicle, or what he did with it at least. So it's like when he's only got that really on his resume to impress anybody with.
Well, I think also when you spend that kind of money, you definitely want to make sure as a company that it's going to sell. Unfortunately,
you can't overdo it.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
They should have seen that this was not a good ending.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the trailers look way better than the movie ended up being.
Yep.
They don't care if you like the movie. They just care if you go to the movie. Which, please God, don't.
Yeah.
Don't go see this movie in theaters.
No, not in a theater.
And
that gets us to the whole point of our reviews. Was it worth it? Not for a theater.
No.
I say it's worth it to at least see once if you're curious. Possibly, like if it's on a streaming site or something.
Yeah, when it gets on Netflix, if you have Netflix, watch it.
Heck, watch it as many times as you want if you end up actually kind of liking it. Because it's not, like we said, it's not a boring movie. It's not a movie that completely just destroys itself on you. It's just that ending was so soul crushing.
Yeah.
That it's like, what were they thinking? But it's totally passable. And I know on the internet there's people saying stuff like, "Oh, it makes the other Fantastic Four movies look amazing." And I'm like, "No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
This crap's all over those."
It is better than the old ones.
It never really found its like soul, essentially.
I'd have to say, of like just general in movies, it was average.
Yeah, it was.
Because the beginning was really good and it had amazing pacing. It had good storytelling.
Yeah.
It's just it fell apart, and the CG wasn't very good. I don't think the director really has any say in that at that point.
No.
Especially when fucking Fox is all
up in
teabagging the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
And although the Thing was good, the Thing was the best CGI in the movie. Doctor Doom looked really cool.
It did.
For someone other than Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not look like Doctor Doom. I can see that they kind of tried to with the nose and with the little square thing.
And the way that they explain how it happens makes perfect sense because you actually see it happening.
Yeah, it looks, I love the way they did it.
Yeah.
but not for Doctor Doom.
Yeah, because Doctor Doom's not supposed to be an amalgamation of.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, well, before he turned into Doctor Doom, those masks are stupid.
Yep.
What's the purpose of them? But later on, you find out to
Yep.
make Doctor Doom look
like
a little
Dr.
bit
Doom.
like Doctor Doom.
Yep.
The only purpose those masks serve.
My biggest thing that made me keep laughing is how the heck, while in the negative zone, which they don't even call the negative zone in this, even though they make
It's
it look
Planet
exactly like
Zero.
it. How does he suddenly, out of nowhere, when he's been fused with a bunch of shit, get a green fucking cloak?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like,
I saw
where
that.
did he find that?
I saw that. I'm just like, what? Where'd that come from?
Yeah,
And I still have no clue where that came from. It was just
No.
there.
yeah.
And then somehow he finds it again as he's leaving.
Yep.
Like he teleports through and it's just suddenly magically on the ground for him to pick back up. Like,
Yeah. Some things. Oh, and the scene where she's like exploding all those
Mhm.
crates in the preview, that wasn't in the movie either, was it?
It had something similar to it, but wasn't that exact scene.
Why
Nope.
would you remake that scene?
Yep.
Like, what the fuck?
Like I remember it showing her like kind of like doing stuff, and then it just shows her like floating above the crates.
Yeah, I know she was floating above the crates.
But I never remember seeing her actually doing the push.
I don't remember it either.
And if she did, it was just like a quick moment as they
Yeah.
were like passing through things.
It's like I figured like she was gonna do that when her dad told her that her brother was going on a mission,
Mhm.
and she'd be like, "What the fuck?" Boom. But no, she's like,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like the same thing. Like in the last trailer that they had, they showed the Thing fighting, and in it, it's actually like a wide shot on the Thing in the trailer, showing him punching a tree. You can't tell who he's fighting.
Yep.
And then in the movie, you find out that he's fighting Reed, but it's like a 2-second scene.
Yeah. He punches the tree, then Reed talks at him, and then the Thing headbutts Reed, and that's the whole fight.
That's the fight.
That is the entire fight.
And when he punches the tree, it's actually a close up of him like this, facing the tree, going ugh,
Yeah.
as opposed to the wide shot that's in the trailer.
Yeah. But in the trailer, like they added more
Mm-hmm.
dust to the trailer
Yeah.
than is in the movie to
That
make
too.
the tree punch seem more impressive.
Yeah.
Because in the trailer it looks like he demolishes that tree, but
Yeah.
in the movie takes out a chunk maybe like that, which is
Big.
super impressive. Like I can't do that, but
Yeah.
it's not what the trailer made it out to be.
Yeah, and because like in the movie, it looks like he's just like there's part of the tree, and just a part of his fist hits the tree and like
Yeah.
knocks off a bunch
Yeah.
of it because he's missing as he's trying to hit Reed.
And the best thing about Reed Richards is that he fights just like Dhalsim from Street Fighter.
Yep.
He's, "Ugh," and his arms stretch.
And like I was saying when we brought this up before, because we were talking about it on the way back from the movie, is that all they needed to do was make Doctor Doom glowing purple instead of green, so that he could be in M. Bison in Psycho mode.
Yep.
You just completely rebooted Street Fighter
Yeah.
instead of the Fantastic
Although
Four.
there would be one cameo that would be completely necessary in a new Street Fighter
Mhm.
movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I loved that movie
Yeah.
as a kid.
And then Reed can be all like, "Awesome fire!" as Human Torch through the fireballs.
Yep.
Buddy. That's the type of jokes that need to get made in these movies.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Darn it, Trank. Just kidding.
He didn't write the movie.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote the movie is to blame.
Mhm. But so yeah, if it was it worth it for movies?
No.
Don't go see it in a theater.
Stream it.
Yeah.
Don't pay money to rent it.
Yeah.
Even just see it for free.
And then if you do end up liking it, you do want to spend money on it.
Then
Once
go
it's on
ahead and
video,
buy it. Yeah.
buy it on video
Yeah.
then. But don't give Fox money for this movie
No.
in a theater because we want to let them know that this is not the type of stuff that we want to see get put out.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
Mhm. So yeah, that's our first attempt at a movie review on our channel.
What do you think? Should we add a number system that will go right here?
Yep.
Right there? Or not? Do you think it's necessary? I don't know.
Comment,
Give us, comment, rate, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter.
share.
Don't share it. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Share it twice.
yeah, if you've seen the movie, let us know what you thought of it. And yeah, give us any criticism that you'd like about how we can better make a review show for you.
Yep. And if you agree with us, that's awesome. Comment below. If you
Yeah.
disagree with us, shut up. I don't care. I'm right.